All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to today's live stream, Thursday, June 10th. And, well, we definitely have more excitement in the market today. Still watching those high short interest plays and seeing how they play out over time. It's been sort of interesting, I guess, to watch and see how they play out. And I think right now we're still getting a lot of pressure on AMC. Let me share out my screen, and we'll see what's going on in the market open here. All right, let's make it something you can actually see. There we go. All right, so we're looking at WEBULL right now, and we can see the different movement that we have in the stocks over here, tracked by percent change, and MVIS is one. There we go, that gets a lot of attention, and we can pull up the news story here, being added to the Russell 2000. So there'd be any ETFs or whatever that would track Microvision being in that Russell 2000, be certainly something that helps it out with its sales. And right now they don't currently have any of their product manufactured. I think they're looking for manufacturers. I do like the idea of Microvision. Check out that green bar that we're seeing there. Let's go out to the daily chart so we can see its performance. There we are. So what we're looking at, we actually have kind of a little bit of a flagpole formation going on here with Microvision. It's just a super volatile stock. And I remember my original position in it was around $10 or so. And when I watched it go up to 14, I was like, all right. It was a swing position. It was a momentum trade in the first place. And I sold it and then watched it go up over 20. And look at this that we have back in here when it went up to $28 per share. That right there looks like evidence of a short squeeze that got taken place with how far the price is down, and then it just skyrocketed back up and then ripped right back down. And now we find ourselves back in this territory, hitting resistance right around this level right here of about 2355, 2350-ish or so. When we look at that, let's go to AMC. Morning, Taco. All right, so we're still, looks like opening down from where we were at, although it looks like we're coming back up. It'd be neat to see how this formation plays out. Let's go intraday. All right, well, at least compared to the pre-market, we're not doing so bad. It looks like 50 is going to be our resist that we have there. So I think that we're going to see this thing try and stay below that $50 per share or so. And I'm looking at the order ladder that we have over here. Man, this thing is jumping all over the place. If I can get it to scroll, there we go. Oh, that's being rather resistant for us. Anyway, so let's go down to let's go out to the 30 minutes so we can see a little bit more of the behavior that we have on the charts. There we go. So you can see the last 2 days sell-off that we had with AMC, and there's talk about it losing momentum. And in the short term, it might be losing that sort of momentum. We'll see what it brings to us. You can see the volume. This is, again, 30 minutes. So when you look at each of these, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes to open each day. And we see a clear trend right now with a decrease in that sort of volume. So these would be indicators that we are losing a little bit of momentum with AMC. So we could still have the hodlers. I am among them, showing solidarity for the retail trader. There you go. Let's bring these up here. Neat. So when you look at the RSI, you can see we're down below 30. We crossed back up into 50, into more of a bullish momentum that we're looking at going into this. Let's take out some of the extended hour trade if I can. There we go. All right, so we take out the extended hours. It looks like we're still sort of in a downtrend, sort of a rest period. But take a look at that consolidation going across. The fact that we're establishing a bottom for this right around $47-ish or so, I would say. Yeah, it looks like just 47.50, down to 47 maybe would be where we're finding support for the stock, and then resistance as we continue to trade sideways here. I think $50 is going to be an area of resistance for us to break. Currently trading at 49.20. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Sean. I'm trying to get better at knowing where it is that I have to look. Even looking here at the camera versus looking at the charts. It really is kind of a neat experience. Let's see what news we have on Mara. Oop, that's BNGO. These things are jumping around so fast. There we go. All right, going up to resistance. We might break that today, depending on. Okay, El Salvador plans to mine Bitcoin using energy from volcanoes. That's new from Benzinga, but I think that was already something that was known. I think that this is a secondary source when we look at this. But that would be a nice clean energy play for Bitcoin, and that coming out of news from China about it being possibly a dirty coin, we'll call it that, for using fossil fuels in order to do a lot of the mining. Over in China, a lot of that news has since passed, and there's been a lot of news about all the green energy and clean energy that it has been used to mine Bitcoin. When we see news like this is good that we're still looking for that environmental responsibility, which also ties into our EV plays and like our solar plays, like the renewable energy space in general. The fact that so many companies are coming out with all these initiatives, and they know that they're going to get a lot of shade thrown at them if they choose to continue being environmentally irresponsible. Let me bring back the extended hours so we can see that, because I'm actually excited about how this one's shaping up. Yeah, we're actually getting a pretty hard resist, even in the off-peak hours that we have for the for marathon here. So this peak right here, the high is 27.24, 27.41, and we're getting close. We might break over that. We'll have to see where that comes in for us. We can go down to the 5 minute. All right, so according to the 5 minute, we have good strength here. We got a buy signal thrown back here from the MACD. See, we just keep on hitting it. We put in a new high, 27.45. That's good, but it was a peak just momentarily, and then it came back down. This might play out really well for anybody who looks at Mara as a momentum trade or as an intraday trade, that they're looking to just make a few quick dollars on this one. So for me, if I was going to make an intraday trade out of this, and I'm not a financial advisor, so none of this is financial advice, but I would actually place my buy order just above that, maybe at 27.50, and depending on what sort of price target I was looking for. As a matter of fact, we have a little bit of support down here at like 26.48. So that's a whole dollar. That means I would have to expect this thing to go up about $2 above that 27.50, so up to 29.50 to get a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio out of that. So for me, as far as an intraday trade, this might be a little bit tough, and especially because we're hitting near resistance. If I was looking at this more as like a swing play, I would go on the short side of it, only because we are so near that resistance. And if we go out to the daily chart on this one, I mean, you can even see here with this peak that we have in this one, we still sort of have like a tabletop. We have that nice horizontal line, and even that connects all the way back here, sort of locking us in place. So breaking that 27.45-ish mark that we're at right now, let's see, maybe up to like even breaking over $28, I think is going to be important for us, just looking at this chart. And as I go back farther in the daily chart, look how many times we hit this horizontal line. We hit on these peaks. We hit it right here in this small gap, not too much, but then these lows right here, these highs over here. So we're just sitting in an area of resistance right now. And maybe if we watch this come back down to find that support and sort of treat it like a range play, we could do. There does look like this is moving up, has a slight upward slope to it as we watch this play out. And it's going to track right along with Bitcoin. So let's check out Bitcoin. Ah, West Coast Ireland. Well done. Excellent. James, good to hear from you. I was in Ireland half my life ago. All the way back when I was 19, I did the I don't know what I'm typing in. I did the Dublin Marathon when I was 19 years old, and it was just absolutely gorgeous weather. And everybody that I met that was from Ireland was absolutely, they were just some of the kindest people that I've ever met. So I'm glad that you could join us, and thank you very much for the shout out. Taco, I'll get back to AMC in a minute, man. Check out what's going on. Bitcoin here, still sort of trading sideways for us, consolidating, and that's okay. Momentum-wise, the momentum's building. We're getting higher lows on this. We're getting higher highs. We could see this break to the upside. I'm still hesitant. We could, if you look at the peaks that we have here, actually, we'll have to see. This could be turning into a little bit of bullish divergence for us, which would be a good thing. Let me draw some lines on here so that we can see what's taking place. So if we go across these peaks here, the highs are trending downward. When we look at this, so it looks like the price is dropping. And then as we look across these peaks that we have here, oh my goodness. One of these signs. I increased my mouse sensitivity for scrolling across two monitors. Ooh, hold on a second here. One more time. All right, so we're selected on that. You know, I'm used to instructing in front of people, and I'm used to technology not working the way that I want it to. I don't know what's going on with that, so I'm just going to have to trace for right now. I do have a graphics tablet that I should be able to overlay some drawings with actual pencil in this rather than a touchpad. But when you go up this, the fact that we're getting higher highs and higher lows, our momentum's picking up, even though we're still down below 50, which is that crossover between bullish and bearish. Above 50 on the RSI is a bullish sign. Below 50 is a bearish sign. We have a little bit of a divergence taking place. I think that it's possible that as we see this crossover into the 50 territory, into the 50s, 60s, giving us that more bullish momentum, we're going to see this break to the upside. So that's sort of what I'm looking at when I see this. And we're actually, besides these days here, we're sort of getting into that zone. I'm going to try one more time for this line. And if it doesn't work, then okay, yeah, I'm leaving it alone. There we go. So Bitcoin, really, we don't have huge catalysts in either direction right now, the things that are going to push our prices, but I do see some momentum picking up, even though we're still in bearish territory, and we do see these highs falling that we have here. So we could see this thing possibly break out over the next few days. It is nice that we're holding support at around 32,000 or so. And when you see news talking about Bitcoin making it back up to 38,000, that's good for maybe short-term investors. And if you're somebody who's more of a long-term investor for this, then this is short-term volatility and it doesn't matter so much. All right, let's go back to Taco's AMC. There we go. Excellent, James. All right. Hey, we broke back up over 50, so there's that psychological resistance that we had at that point. We go down to a faster time level. Ooh. My apologies. I want to be back here. There we go. Sometimes when I just want to look at a cleaner screen where we don't have all the different movement and the tickers and stuff, I'll go over to the other one, which if I search up there, it sends me over to this other stock area. All right, so now let's go down to 5 minutes. All right, look at that. So check it out. You can see that we're sort of in that overbought territory on the 5-minute time frame, and that is important because this will change according to the time frame that we set. And if we put Bollinger Bands on that thing, I bet we peaked up over, yeah, we're well up over 2 standard deviations. So if we see this come back and rest a little bit for us, that would be a perfectly natural thing to see. If we see a big volume spike, it could be evidence that what we have are shorts that are being covered. So that would be something to pay attention to when you watch these prices and see how they happen. Let's go down to the 1 minute and see if there's anything a little bit more telling about what's currently going on. Oh, look at that. We're getting close to the $51 mark. Nice. So we actually have a flag formation in the 1 minute chart when we look at it. There we go. Look at that rip. All right. And the 1 minute chart, it moves so fast. So when I look at this, we still have strong signs. We're still moving up. Our volume's staying about the same when we look across the 1 minute chart. It's pretty steady. So not bad. Wouldn't be unnatural for this to rest. If we watch this red candle over penetrate, if it comes down more than like a 50% retracement or so, this could be a double top resist for us, and then it would, you know, maybe drop down for a little while. We just don't want to see the lows come back down. And if we go up to a higher time frame, there we go. So again, this could still turn into double top resist for us, but we don't want to see this come back down more deeply than, let's say, $49 if we're going to continue that upward movement. And this is going to be a hard stock to call. It just is when you watch it take place. But man, that is exciting to watch that take place. Seeing those green bars. So if anybody did do a short-term play on this one, in order to, you know, come in right at the beginning, right at market open. Where is our open? We opened at 47.93, and we just yeah, look at that double top that we have right there. And I'm actually just going to put on the bodies of the candles there. So 51-ish dollars, we'll call it. 51 up to 51.30. So yeah, going up about $4, so about 8% of your money right off the bat. Not bad at all. Let's see if we have anything else. BNGO's putting in 5% right now. Oh yeah, and this could honestly be moving right along in sympathy with AMC. It has been doing quite a bit of that. Clover Health. There we are. So I want to actually zoom out a little bit so we can see more of what's going on. This had a really nice run over the past couple of days. And I was talking about 50% retracement. You can see that we have retraced. Let's see if we can. So this low that we had down here, about 930 up to 28. So minus, well, we'll call it 29. So about $20 up, and we've come a little bit over that, about $12 down or so from where we're at right now. So this isn't really tracking the same way with AMC. It looks like this yesterday really was a lot of our price action. If we want to trade sideways for a while, we could watch more of that momentum possibly play out after a rest period. But right now, if you look at the volume, very low volume with that increased price movement. And then we had very high volume, relatively speaking. And then the volume tapered. And right now, we're on the 30-minute chart, and it's only 9:48. So there's still 12 minutes for this candle to shape up. But if it's not as high as these two, then we know that some of that price action, some of that momentum that we have is going out with the volume. So that would be just a nice way to watch this take place. Nio, gorgeous. I don't want to go up there. You guys are welcome to put tickers into the chat there. I'll take a look at the companies. I don't care if I track them or if I don't track them. At the very least, I can tell you what I see going on in the charts. All right, so I want to check out the volume here that's going on. All right, the volume held somewhat steady. It looks like it's tapering off a little bit as time goes on. And if you follow the price follows volume idea, we had pretty decent volume here during that ride up. And then we had a little bit more of a pop, and then it started tapering. But the market also hasn't shown the same excitement overall in the past few days as it had in the past few weeks. So with Nio's one that I have a relatively large position in my growth portfolio. So when you look at this take place, for me, it's a bullish thing that I believe that their production numbers are going to continue to increase. They're holding steady on their production for June. So June is actually going to be a big month. I think they have to make about 8,000 to 9,000 car deliveries. I mean, to hit their price target of it was 21 to 22,000 vehicles for the second quarter. So it's going to be an important metric for them to hit those delivery numbers, because even though they fell short in May, they're still anticipating that they still hit that same goal that they had at the end of Q1 for the end of Q2. So coming out of the chip shortage, which is still ongoing, but something that we should rotate out of over time, that should be something that helps out with the delivery numbers we see out of Nio. And the fact that they have the Chinese government backing them and really helping to push this car along, this is going to be something that also helps the company mature over time and to really help them grow. All right, let's go down to the 5 minute. All right. Well, this isn't too uncommon to see that you see some low volume activity go up. And look at that resistance that we hit right across there, about 43.22. So we have about $1 for an area of resistance from like 43.22 to like, am I reading that right? Darn my eyes. 43.22. Oh no, we're good. So about 4 cents. That's even better. Thank goodness. All right. So we had that sell off, but then we had this engulfing candle happen right here. And the fact that we're getting this narrowing here can be a good sign for us as we continue. Let's see what the markets are doing just in a quick glimpse. All right, NASDAQ's up, Dow's up, S&P's up. Where the heck is the line for the NASDAQ? I don't even see it right now. There we are. All right. Caesar's asking for Tesla. Oh, nice. We're back up over $600. And anytime that we hit under 500, in my opinion, under these recent times that we have for Tesla, to me, that's a buying opportunity if I'm looking to increase my position in Tesla. They're having a very strong day. And look at those volumes keeping up. We saw those slowly tapering off with Nio, but Nio's prices have also been rising steadily and holding steady. There's just been so much drama surrounding Tesla, and the markets hate drama. We're just going to continue to see this action. I wonder if we look at the daily chart. Let's see what Tesla looks like. All right. So we had some lows in here, find some support around like 540-ish. We'll say 540 to 550. And then we just tapped down this low at about 571. I think the last purchase I made for Tesla was around 575. So it was somewhere around this most recent bottom that we had here. We want to see, it's good to see these lows moving upward. If these highs are going to keep on tapering inward, we could see sideways trading for a little while on Tesla. Really be nice to hear about news, more news from China about deliveries or sales increasing again for China, because they've had a little bit of a rough go there, a little bit of drama. What there was the brake failure and the protests that were happening, and China at one point, the government, I should say, also worried about. I just lost my train of thought. I'll be honest, my mom just called me and I don't have my notifications turned off, and so I will get back to her. Sweet lady, great lady. But anyway, so with Tesla, just all the different news that we had, and Anonymous, that hacker threat that we'll call it, coming in for Elon Musk, it didn't really seem to do a whole lot for the markets, in my opinion. At least as far as Tesla goes, he sort of shrugged it off. He doesn't really seem to fear whatever it is that they could punish him with. So right now, we haven't seen any results of that. And affecting Elon Musk directly, I don't know if that's something that's going to affect Tesla directly. It certainly has the potential to, because he is we'll call him the face of Tesla, being the CEO. And he's been pretty darn influential. Just economically speaking, even in the world of Bitcoin. All right, so let's take another look intraday here. Now that I looked at the bigger time frame, there we go. All right, so on the 5-minute chart, we could be hitting resistance here, 611 up to like 612-ish or so. We could see this pull back down with that candle coming back down, engulfing this one that we see. So on this lower time frame that we have, that could certainly be something that affects us on the short term anyhow. I've watched the bullish cases from ARK Invest for Tesla, and I know that they remain highly confident in the way that Tesla will trade over time, and that they're going to grow in their number of vehicles, and the fact that they have such a large economic moat that surrounds them. And then not only their EVs, their solar plays when we come into Biden infrastructure. And you know what I didn't mention before, the tax credits. The fact that Tesla makes so much money by selling the green energy credits, that is something that I'm sure that they're aware of, and that their margin, as they increase it with their vehicle productions, as they mature as a company, that margin should increase for the vehicles, and the tax credits that they receive they should start not being as big of a part that you would have in their revenue and in their bottom line as well. All right. There we go. I want to make sure I keep an eye on the comments here. Blackberry, any excitements? Oh, I went to the wrong place again. There you go. Let's see how they look compared to some of the other ones. All right, that's the 30-minute time frame. We're not going to see a lot going on there. It is getting contested over right now, and we see the same sell-off with Blackberry as we saw with Clover Health. There we go. All right. Well, the nice thing here is that we get to see where the prices are resisting right around the $15 mark. Depending on what we see from the markets and to seeing also what momentum that we see coming out of AMC and Clover Health. Maybe this is even more closely tied to Clover Health than it is to AMC, at least as far as its performance that we have happening. We have right around the 1450 as support. We'll see if that support holds. Let me go up to a higher time frame. All right, we actually have rather decent support hanging around 1442-ish, maybe down to like 1435. So we're stuck between resistance and support. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing trades sideways for the day, or given the bigger trend that we have happening over the past 2 trading days, we could see it maybe even drop a little bit below that. But again, I think that it's going to be tied to the other momentum plays that we have with the short interest. And you can see, look at the volumes. Let me zoom out just a little bit more so we can get another day in there. Okay. So it looks like our peak volume, at least at the opening, was here, and that's when the price was the highest, and then it did taper off significantly. It looked like the biggest volume that we had, besides in that first 30 minutes of the trading day, was back here on June the 7th. And then it stayed strong throughout the day, and we had strong price action. And here it started off strong at a high price, and then the volume just tapered off. It was kind of like people got disappointed that it wasn't trading as well as they had thought. And then it went even lower after that, and now we're trading even lower today. So we'll see how the volume shapes up here for Blackberry. And like I said, if we look at Clover Health one more time, all right. What day was this? Okay, this was June the 8th. It looked like it was its best day, and it was its highest volume. And that's when you saw that positive price action. And we're still, it looks like we're getting a lower volume day today too. And so this could be a mix between the overall market bias that we have and the momentum for the stock dropping out. And we'll have to see. We actually, looking at the RSI, we are in bearish territory. So this could keep dropping, but the highs are going up. The lows are going up. Under the right conditions, it could pick up more momentum. We'd need to see this start moving up above 50 in order to have more of that confirmation. And the Bollinger Bands aren't going to show us anything surprising here. We do see them narrow, and everything's within 2 standard deviations of the mean. So everything here, it just looks like normal activity on the 30-minute chart. And then going down to 5 minutes, check that out. We went outside 2 standard deviations of the mean, and it ripped right back down. If we see this come down and tag outside of 2 standard deviations below the mean, it could signal that we're going to have it bounce off of there and move back up towards the mean again. So anywhere from like $15.25 back up to like that $17. So we'll see how that plays out. And it looks like we're going to have quite a bit more of a drop based on what I see here. I don't know that this is going to reverse yet. Zoom out a little bit. We might hit bottom somewhere between like 1550 and 1588. We'll have to see how that plays out for us. All right. Taco, I'll tell my mom you said hello. Waiting on Palantir. What else do we see? The Romeo Power, we'll get to that one after Palantir. I went to the wrong chart again. All right. One of these times I'll remember to click in the right spot. There we go. All right. Yeah, Palantir, the fact that we're back up into the 20s like we are, floating around that $24 mark, can compared to what we were at a little while ago, we're actually in pretty good shape. I can tell you that this was one that I have in my growth portfolio and over at the Patreon and in the Discord. There was a lot of doubt going on for Palantir, and questions were coming out. Are you going to keep a hold of this? Are you selling it? What are you doing? And I did lower my cost basis over time. That I bought some of these dips that we had in here, and you can see that we have fairly good support right around that $20 mark. I don't know that we'll tag down here again. Maybe from a macroeconomic point of view, we might be able to do that. What we do have, I mean, of course, we're going to have narrowing. Look at how volatile that was before. But when you have the narrowing of the Bollinger Bands, that can signal a breakout. It doesn't tell you in what direction, though. But what you can see is when we go out over 2 standard deviations above the mean, when we go outside of that is when we start to come back in towards the mean. So even though it's a lagging indicator, you can still see when that stuff happens. So you don't have to wait for it to go outside of them. You can expect the momentum to be something that would carry you outside of them. So if you're looking for sort of a simple way to think about it as like buy and sell for long positions, and I mostly speak about long positions because that's most of the trading I do. As a matter of fact, that's most of the trading that's done is trading when you go long on stocks. So this one, seeing it go as far as it did outside 2 standard deviations away from the mean, for me, that was a great time to get in and buy a few more shares. And then when you see this happen, that may have been a sign where you would have sold. And well, at least so far, we don't really see much difference come from that. But that's short term. For me, Palantir is not a short term hold. It's not a swing trade. For me, Palantir is a long term hold kind of play that we're going to see them get more and more contracts. Really, I wasn't so bullish on Palantir when they had a high cost of entry from the businesses who were signing up from them, and then finding out that they were actually getting more people into their service and lowering that barrier to entry, making it easier for smaller businesses to get in and experience their software and benefit from their software and being able to have contracts as a subscription model. Those were things that caused me to be more bullish on it, because it just opens up a world of opportunity for a lot more businesses, and it should really help them out. Their stock options that they offer to their employees, that's an area of concern, because if they keep on doing the options compensation, that can really be something that would I just lost the word I was looking for. It could dilute the value of the shares over time by employees going through and selling off some of their options. So it is a concern. It's like the one concern outside of maybe competition from other businesses. I will call those 2 concerns that I have for Palantir. And for any company, if there's ones that you don't have any concerns over and you're investing in them, I recommend, as far as I can. I shouldn't recommend because I can't recommend. I would definitely, if I didn't have any doubts whatsoever about Palantir, I would take a closer look at the company, because there's always reasons to doubt. And if there wasn't reasons to doubt, then well, these prices would they would trade much less. With much less volatility, because they would constantly trade at the same amount because nobody doubts how much they're actually worth. All right, what do we got here? Romeo Power. Remind me of the ticker for Romeo Power. I might be able to find it here. There it is. RMO. No, I didn't have it right. I'm like, ROM, that's not right. RME. Yeah, Romeo Power's had a rough time of it, if I remember correctly. All right. Hey, they bounced off the bottom of 633 a share. Let me get rid of the Bollinger Bands here. Actually, let's go to the weekly chart where we can actually see something. All right, so Romeo Power. This isn't one that I cover. So let me ask those of you in the chat. Do you happen to know? Was this a SPAC? Did they join the market via SPAC? Because that's these trading there around that $10 mark. It looks like maybe that they announced that they were going to merge with Romeo Power, whoever it was, and then we got to ride that up. And even the timeline matches up with where a lot of the SPAC deals were peaking, and the sell-off that we have also seems to coincide. Wow, look at that, $6.33, and it's been up 50% from there. VLDR, so Velodyne. I'll check that one out soon. Actually, I wanted to go back to the daily chart on Romeo. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, we do have a little bit of good news when we look at this. So this previous high after the sell-off, it really got broken. So really now it's about how much farther that comes down. Let's put on some moving averages. I actually want to change that setting. I like the 50-period moving average. There we go. Okay. Well, 50-period, definitely bearish, but we did cross back over it, so that's a good sign. And then let me also put up an EMA. There we go. And I want to change that to the 200-period EMA. Oh, 209? That's weird. That's that coordination thing again, Sean. There we go. All right. So when you hear about death cross, that's this right here, which is typically a bearish signal for us that we crossed over that. The nice thing is when we look at the 200-day, even though that's also bearish, we are coming up on it. So we could see these two lines act at the purple one, the one on top for those of you who might have color troubles. This purple line that we have up here could act as resistance for us right now around 1177, but that is a moving average, so it's not going to stay there. And then blue could act as support for us now that we've traded above it, and that's coming in at $8.52. So we have like about a $3 range between the two of those. So we'll see how the price action plays out. If our lows stay higher than this last low, and if our highs continue higher, we could see this thing continue. Let's bring up the analyst estimates. One second, I have to add that onto this screen. I'm still getting it set up for live streaming a little bit better than what I had it at. There it is. All right. Well, we're above the low analyst estimate, so not a bad thing. I don't know the time frame on these. That's something that I wish WEBULL would add in the future, is seeing which analysts said these and when they said them, because these are 12-month price targets, but we don't know how old they are. Tip ranks actually tells us a little bit more about that. Maybe we should take a look there. We're still fairly well below this, still about $2 below the average. And well, if we go to the high side of that, that's 100% up from where it's at. Let me close that widget window. Also, give me a moment to check my live stream and make sure that my camera and microphone are still live and kicking. All right, they are. I do have a backup battery, and I also ordered a power cord for my camera, so I don't have to worry about losing audio video when I do these. But if it does happen to blank out, guys, know that I will come right back to you. So if it goes dead, tomorrow's when I'm supposed to get that the power cord. So after that, it shouldn't be an issue anymore. But for today and maybe the live stream tomorrow morning, so tomorrow's Friday, then those could be issues for us. But after that, it shouldn't be an issue as long as it works the way that I intend. All right, see what news we have for Romeo Power. Lawsuits are nothing to get worked up over. I don't know how much you follow stocks, and when you see those, they often don't really affect the prices in the market so much. That's something that newer investors might be scared off by, but lawsuits happen all the time. So unless it's actually some really specific, legitimate thing that would be directly damaging to their company, I don't think that it's something that we really have to worry about. So let's see. Collaboration to help accelerate vehicle-to-grid integration. Hey, that's some good news for us. All right, I'm going to have to read up on Romeo Power, especially while the prices are depressed as they are. That really takes a lot of the risk out of it. If we look at where it bottomed out, it's a 50% downside. I don't know if we'll get back there, especially now that we're trading back above the 50-day moving average. Bring the comments back up. The CPI today, CPI data came out, and we had 5% overall, or was the total measure for inflation, and that was pretty much what we had for expectations compared to 2020. But the thing is, so if let's just talk percentages for a moment. So if we talk about the number 100, let's say back in 2019, that number was 100, and then 2020 came along, and it was 5% lower. That takes us down to 95. And then let's say we get into 2021 and we go 5% higher from what we were at during that time period in 2020. We're not back up to the 100 that we were at in 2019. Instead, we're just below where we were at. So really, instead of looking year over year, the month over month, and on any of you watches Meet Kevin, he's somebody who is really good for giving you a quick idea of a pulse on what's going on in the background of the economic world. So I'm a fan of his. Stockmo is also one of my favorites that I watch. I don't know if you watch him. He's excellent for long-term investing and fundamentals. I'm certainly no match for his long-term view of things. There's Uncle Larry, I think, is also incredible to watch. Anyway, moving on from there. So instead of looking year over year, which is a pretty standard metric when we talk about financials and stock market, if we went back to 2019, that could be a better comparison for where we would sit because that was a more typical year for us, even though now coming recovery and post-pandemic, it still wouldn't be a great measure. I just think it'd be a better measure than comparing it to 2020. But month over month is going to be a better indicator for us for how things are shaping up. And we actually did drop in month over month from where we were at before. All right, what are we? Okay, so we're looking at Romeo. We're getting down near that low. Let's go back out to a higher time frame. Those lower time frames just make it so hard to see what's going on and knowing where to look. Look at this on the 30-minute chart. We're coming down to that 200 period moving average. So this is 200 blocks of 30 minutes, if you want to think about it that way. That might serve as support for us. We're going to have to see if that continues to be the case or if it's not going to hold up. I just want to look at the daily chart one more time, and we're right in between the two of them. So I would say what we have for Romeo right now is pretty typical. I'm going to give this a moment to see if it loads. And NASDAQ, Dow, S&P, those are all still looking pretty good for us. There we go. All right, Velodyne. People actually expect a lot of good things coming out of Velodyne. I think Luminar is the one that is still considered to be top dog in this space, and I think Microvision is the lidar play that is sort of the underdog in it, and Velodyne is caught somewhere in between. All right, yeah, they've gone right along with the sell-off as well. So we actually don't. We have a fairly. I mean, that bottom there. So about 50 to 60 cents or so between those. Yesterday, I don't know, 2 days ago, it looked like a great day for volume. 18 million shares traded yesterday, 7 million, and today we're getting to that 1 million mark. This candle came back down a little bit further than we would have expected. Let's get moving averages going here. Yeah, so we actually I'm going to go back to this one. There you go. I keep on choosing the wrong one. Yeah, so again, you see the cross. So we were doing all right until this sell-off. What day was that? Right when everything else is selling off. So this is around February 22nd. There might be company-specific news that would accompany it, but otherwise, this sell-off that we see is pretty typical. They haven't really recovered through the month of May the way that other stocks have. It wasn't until, there you go, June 8th that they actually had a big day. We should look at the news for that one. It took us just above resistance, according to the 50 period. This is 50 days that we're looking at, the simple moving average for that. And then as soon as we were above it on the next day, it brought us right back down. So that could still be an area where we're going to find resistance and support, at least for what we're looking at here. Yeah, we have a long way to go to support. Down to 1042, and then after that, 948. All right, so let's look at the analyst estimates on Velodyne. We're getting close. Remember, I don't know if you've watched these other ones, but when I look at this, I always want this to be down below the 12-month analyst estimate. If it's one that I'm going to buy as an investor, I don't want to see that it already made the price targets that are supposed to happen 12 months from now. To me, that's just a simple indicator that it's probably trading at a bit of a premium, and that maybe a little bit too much of that future value or expected future value is being priced into it. So maybe a little bit high of a multiple, but $12 versus $30, there's a lot of disparity. 9 analysts, so 5 of them believe that it's a buy or a strong buy. We have 1 coming out saying underperform and 3 of them for a hold. Interesting. Fair amount of upside though, about 50% upside to the average analyst estimate. So that's not horrible for us. And whoever put in the $12 one, not a lot of upside going there. And if Velodyne's sales really start to surprise us over the next 12 months, if they're able to, I don't know if they're profitable or not yet. I haven't looked at their numbers, but that's getting close to tripling from where they're at now. It's like, what, doubling and then another 70% over its current price or something like that. Let's see what else we got. So we got today. Big fan of Meet Kevin and Stockmo. Stockmo started boxing with Tesla Cat, and that happens to be one of my favorite things is watching the cat box. I don't know why it's so entertaining, but he could honestly put that on loop, and I think people would just keep on watching it. All right, let's see what else we got. Virgin Galactic. This one's, there we go. Who will get to space first? All right, so Jeff Bezos. So Amazon versus Virgin Galactic. I don't remember when U.S. and Russia began their space race, but I remember hearing about it. Not quite that old, but I do remember Amazon taking on Virgin Galactic. Or maybe I'm thinking of, I might be thinking of SpaceX with Elon Musk. After test flights, Branson will take part in passenger space tourism mission from the company to send him into space. Second half of 2021. All right, so I believe that this is low orbital space flight that they use a parabolic flight trajectory. It's all pretty cool sounding stuff. I don't think it's for the common person yet. I think it's a very luxury thing. But we always see what's luxury innovation-wise ends up moving down to the more common man going forward from there. They've had a really decent time recently. Look at that volume compared to even when they had these prices back here. So the price was much higher. Now the volume's higher, price is lower, but it's still fairly exciting. Get rid of some of those distracting lines that we have there. All right, so according to what we see in the Bollinger Bands, the prices are pretty typical. What are the analyst estimates on this? See, this is something, for me, if I was going to take a position as an investor, swing trading, day trading, those are different. But as an investor, to me, this would be, I'd have to really do a lot of research to find out if that's merited to come out at that price and really have some bull case set up where it deserves to be traded at $50 per share. So this is a sign to me that depending on the age of these estimates that we have, this could be something that could be a little bit rich for the current prices. I would wait for this thing to pull back down, considering what is that, 14, so double that, and then another half again. So 2.5 times what it was just going back a month ago. That's an incredible gain for anybody who happened to be in Virgin Galactic. Looked at Mara. I don't know if it's worth it to look at Riot. That's probably a lot of the same news that we have coming out there. Microvision's up to 13%. All right. So, Oren, I see your question that you have about GNOG. Long term, the story is still the same, that they're working on, they're still sensitive to legalization of online gambling across the different states that they have, and they're still subject to market penetration. They expect it to be have a much smaller part of the market share, but still expanding into it. So I think that number was like 1 to 10%. It was something that I had to go back and check my research notes on that one. So that when you hear that they have a small amount of the market share, that was already expected for them in the first place. It was never really their plan to take over a large part of the market and take on somebody like Draftkings or something like that. However, we still expect to see, let's zoom in on this. We still have decent expectations coming out. They had strong performance in Michigan and New Jersey, also doing pretty well there. Pennsylvania, I don't know what's holding back the news on Pennsylvania. Because they've had clearance to open up operations in Pennsylvania. Maybe they're trying to get things moving in Michigan first, which they have, before starting getting things moving more in Pennsylvania. But we're going to see those reports come out, and strong reports about state performance, especially if it's across all the states that they're in. Those are things that'll act as a catalyst for the price going forward. So you can see this is not only high growth, which penalized it, but it also joined via SPAC, so that really penalized it. And you can see this cross here and the sharp drop that followed down to, wowee, almost $10 per share. I wish I would have loaded up more then. I loaded up a lot when we were hitting these bottoms here because I thought that it would hold. It broke for a little while, but now we're returning right back to where we are support-wise, right around 1285. Speaking of support, if you look at the moving averages, we made it up to the 200-day, and this is an exponential moving average, and then that simple moving average that we're down there. And then something else to pay attention to is they're both negatively sloped. So right now, this is still looking on the bearish side of things. Where's my drawing tools? There we are. Let's see if my drawing tools will work this time. So if we connect the tops of those previous highs that we have, it's possible that now we kind of have broken that. We're going to start seeing a reversal come out of this. The volume hasn't come back to GNOG yet. I just don't think that gambling stocks are where the hype is right now. That might come more. That might come more throughout the end of the summertime, getting into like NFL season, because American football is a pretty popular thing and tends to have an impact that we can see on stocks like this one. So we'll see. I'm really excited about Draftkings to see how that plays out. This is more what I like to see with the 12-month analyst estimates that we have. And some of these are a couple months old. So this is moving into maybe the early parts of 2022. So from where we're at about $14 a share, $6 just to the low analyst estimate. So it doesn't mean that we're going to hit those, but I like to look at the low one and being trading well below that, because that can mean that it's trading a little bit cheaper, that not, we're still waiting on some of that growth and some of that evidence to take place for this one. So what do we need? So 14, 2, 3, like a 30 to 40% upside. Actually, you know what, closer to 40% upside from where we're at here, just to that low analyst estimate, and 2xing from where we're at now up to that high analyst estimate. So I don't know if we'll see 2x coming from this price, according to these estimates that we see over the next year, but a 40% gain, you know, it's a very modest gain for 1 year's time. I just realized I was in the wrong chart area again. All right, we'll take a look intraday. Oh, Draftkings. Okay, so thank you, Mark. I'll take a look at Draftkings next. So look at this. The Bollinger Band's still left up from before. We've actually dropped outside of those. And if you look at what happens from the previous day, when we dropped outside of those, we tended back towards the mean. So we could see from where it's at right now. And again, you want to look at what the overall market's doing. If the market is having a really crappy day, macroeconomically, that is going to also drag down stocks like this one. So that's why I wanted to look back here to kind of see where everything was performing and what sort of trend we saw. There, the NASDAQ loaded up significantly from when it opened, so that's good. It might settle as we get more into like the 10:30, 11 o'clock hour, which we're actually getting to now. So depending on what sort of data comes out, CPI data being kind of neutral in my opinion, or as expected, might be a way to say it. Also falling rate-wise from what we saw with the peak with the report for April coming out in May. You know, these aren't bad numbers for us. I don't know why that's bugging out. I have to look into that. But if I were going to play this like as an intraday, taking the price now while we're down below 2 standard deviations away from the mean, you know, for me, this wouldn't be a bad time for me to take that position and buy a few shares. So I already have my long-term position. Let me see. Let me check on my phone here. Here, we'll toss this in. This account that I have in WEBULL is just a small cash account that I use from the free stocks that were given to me through people who signed up using my referral link and deposited their money. So there's not a lot that I have in here. And let me see if it... There we go. That's not what I want. 1 second. There we go. All right, so let me see. Actually, let me connect this. So if you click this button, I don't know if you guys use WEBULL or not, but if you click this button and then set it to the group, and if you look here at the number 1, if I just click the number 1, it should set this to GNOG for me. There we go. So 10 of them at 1385. Time, the day is fine. Extended hours, no. So stop price. Let's take a look at this. I moved that to the wrong location. Let's move it over here. There we go. So 1417 is where that is, but it's trending downward. So let me see, where would that be? Let's go down to a smaller time frame. All right, well, let's zoom out, see if we can find an area of resistance for us besides that mean that we have there. All right, let's do this differently. EMA. Oh yeah, we are well below that. Let's go higher time frame. What I'm looking for is a place that I would want to exit my trade, and if I can determine that, there we are. I don't know where the other one went. Normally I have this docked. I'll have to include that in my setup so that I can put those things in there. So 10, 1388. So a stop price, let's go with 1370 because that's about where the 50-day simple moving average is. So 13.70, and then limit price that we have here. And this is just this is a small order, just demonstrating a little bit. So let's go with $14.05, I think. Yeah. Get that out of the way there. There we go. All right, so you can see that it put me in the position that I have there. And the nice thing is you can actually click and you can drag these to different places. So this thing will sell out my order at $13.70. That's 18 cents down. I bought 10 shares, so that'd be losing $2. So this isn't going to be anything that's groundbreaking. So I don't know if you've ever done any intraday trading or anything like that, or the short-term trades. But rather than trying to take advantage of really big moves with a few shares, it actually can work out a lot better in your favor. Like, I don't know if any of you have margin accounts or anything like that, but for me, if I do an intraday trade, I will use my margin in order to take a leverage position there in order to enter and buy a lot of shares and take advantage of a smaller movement to just have a better shot at going ahead and making my money. So that way the stock doesn't have to make such a big leap in price in order for me to get paid. It would only have to make a smaller movement in order for that to happen. And also, so if you, the nice thing about setting your targets that you have, so your sell stop and your sell limit, when you set those, the sell stop for a long position would be down below the price that you bought in at. The sell limit would be up above that. So you can spend like like $10,000 buying the shares and only risk like $100. And the way that you would do that is that you would look to how much risk you're willing to take on. So if you're going to risk, for me, I like to do 2 to 1. So if I'm going to be risking $100, so setting my stop so that I'm only losing $100 out of the 10,000 that I spent, that I'm only looking to gain $200. And so doing that consistently is something that can work out in your favor over time. It's not the way that it's going to make you rich, and it's not going to be something that's going to be here goes nothing, YOLO sort of play. Instead, it's something that done well over time. It can be income generating, even if it's not necessarily wealth generating. If you want wealth generating, doing long-term investments in the buy and hold strategy in solid companies when you buy them at good prices, that's actually a much better way to generate wealth. All right, Draftkings. I said that I'd talk about that one. All right, Draftkings back up over $50. It's had a rough ride. It was almost down to $40 recently. Actually, oh man, it actually dropped just below at $39.93 at its very lowest. We made it back up over the 200-day EMA, and the 200 EMA also took on a positive slope recently. Excellent. We also broke over the 50-period simple moving average, so this is a 50-day one that we're looking at. Went up above it, and so now it's sort of acting as support for us. So that's nice to be able to see those sort of lines. And Draftkings, I think, is the fact that they spend so much money. It's funny because when you read the media about it and they talk about how much Draftkings spends on marketing and advertisement, they're in a big competition. Like FanDuel, Barstool Sports, I forget some of the other ones that are out there. Like it's going to be a bloodbath of a fight is what it's going to be in order to see who comes out on top. And Draftkings spending early is a really good sign to make sure that they are the ones with the notoriety and the name, and becoming the face of online sports betting. That's something that I think the Draftkings really does a nice job of, and I think that's where they're going to get their strength. And that spending should slow down over time, and they should also increase their top line. Well, hopefully all that spending leads to top line growth and bigger revenues, and then ultimately, as they mature, leads to also that bottom line growth as well. Analyst estimates. So my position here, I think my cost base is around $48. So I'm about 10% up, a little bit over from where I was at when I bought that initial position. And NFL season, I think, is going to be huge. So I'm really excited to see what the summer does for us and into the fall, and hearing, hopefully we get to see a lot of headlines. I hope that DraftKings does their PR and really puts out that information for us as we look forward into this. So based on 27 analysts. So 27, okay. It's like 6 strong buys, and then this right here is about half, but a little under, so that must be like 13 buys, 30%. So about 7 holds, and then it doesn't look like we have any underperforms or sells. Yeah, I think that if there's any time to scoop up Draftkings, hopefully you did during this sell-off that you had down here. That gave us a huge opportunity for entry. Draftkings did join via SPAC, but it was in early 2020, I think, that it was all the way back here. Actually, we can see. Let's go to the weekly charts. I don't have to scroll so much. Okay, so back as early as 2019, and then in the very early parts of 2020. And this is the weekly chart again that we're looking at. And look at those lows. They continue to climb higher as we go along, that we never really return back to the other ones, and the high is still climbing higher. I don't know how soon we'll break this peak, because that was in a time of a very frothy market. So if we look actually back here to like $64, $65 per share, and again, this is on the weekly chart. If we drill down to lower time frames, we could see other hidden areas of resistance that we just don't see here on the chart in front of us. But $64, $65 could be that hard resist that we get in their stock price. So maybe if everything goes well for Draftkings and the stock market's still in really good shape, and economy's in really good shape, we might see, that'd be another 20% from where we're at right now to get up to well, almost 20%. To get up to that price from where they're trading at today up to where we're going to hit that big area of resistance here. Simon, good to have you, man. I'm glad you could make it. How's it going? Where's the daily chart? There it is. All right, not a whole lot that's of interest. However, you can see we hit these 2 standard deviations above the mean, and then we start tumbling back off again. So this could come back down to these previous areas that we saw here, coming back down to $50. People having in their mind that Draftkings is a $50 per share sort of stock. That could be a good area of support that we'll find in this. What is it? A 20-period moving average that we have here. That could act as our support for us as we go forward. So we'll see what that looks like. I'm going to put my moving averages back up there. There we are. So yeah, the fact that we're sitting right here on the 50 period, right around that $53, we'll see if that holds up today, and we'll see if we bounce off of it going into tomorrow's trading day to end the week. All right, guys, it's starting to move on to the later hours. So if you have other stocks that you want me to toss up here and check out, I'd be more than happy to. While I'm waiting, I'm going to put Ethereum up here. And I don't know if you'll believe this or not, but again, I put it in the wrong place. There we go. Earth, ETH. Quick feedback question from you guys. When you guys look at this chart on the screen, how well does it display? Is it readable for you guys, like the numbers, the words, everything? Or is it something that I should work to have a larger display set up for when I do the streaming? All right, so for Ethereum, you can see that we're sort of trading sideways. Those lows are getting higher, which is good. Top's pretty much trading straight across. And we still have our moving averages up here, trading above the 200. Positive slope, both bullish signs. And it looks like we're resisting on the 50-day simple moving average that we have here. That can continue to act as resistance, and then also trading across the tops right around 2,800. I don't consider any news for Ethereum right now. Anything below 3,000 to me is not big news. Once we go up above $3,000 again for Ethereum, once we break that psychological level, I think that then we have news on our hands that Ethereum is moving back into bullish territory. Similarly, when we talk about Ethereum being bearish, like if it's not under 2,000, I don't think that we're in huge bearish territory for Ethereum otherwise, because these are already highly volatile plays. So trading where they do, between that $2,000 to $3,000 range for Ethereum, to me isn't huge news. If we see below 2,000, I will pull in more of my cash reserves and I will take in a larger position. You can see the small one that I have here. Remember, this is my small cash account that I have that's fully funded by shares that I got from WEBULL. I have almost 15% of one of the Ethereum tokens. So you're not going to see any large positions in here or anything like that. But I use this to test out the interface and see what I think of it. And I really am pleased with the overall aesthetic that we have for WEBULL and their performance. They update like every week to 2 weeks. I'm getting a new update, and they really have added a lot of features and functionality. And I think that they are maturing nicely as a company, and they also have incentive programs to get more free shares of stuff. And that's for anybody who's trading with them, not just affiliates. Anybody who has the account will have access to the promotions that they run. Oh yeah, Cardano. Now about Cardano, I was not able. I absolutely love Cardano. They have a lot of scalability to them, and they're making a lot of serious improvements. And if I'm right, the creator of Cardano was used to work with Vitalik, who created Ethereum, and they sort of had philosophical differences with how they viewed their cryptocurrencies. Let's see if Cardano comes up yet. I might have to go to CoinMarketCap in order to get better results. There we go. All right, yeah, look, you can see this is all the coverage that WEBULL has. I know that they don't, this isn't tradable yet. So here, watch. There we go. I can create an alert. I can add to a watch list. I don't have any options to trade this. So you can't currently trade this. You can trade Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin. So you have options within WEBULL in order to trade those. And there's a few others that I'm sure that I'm leaving out. But some of the more popular ones, like Polygon is one of my favorites. That's a level 2 solution on the Ethereum network. We don't really see that. So we have an inverse hammer on Cardano right now. Let's go down 30 minutes since the daily chart isn't going to show us too much on Cardano. I do have a smaller position in Cardano as well. There we go. All right, so Cardano is trading down below this 50 period moving average that we have. The lows are getting higher though, so this thing really could help us out. The 200 period, you know, actually, there we go. Just to see a little bit more of what's taking place with Cardano. So its price is cooling down, but then again, so are a lot of the cryptocurrencies. The RSI that we have here, it is trading sort of in that bearish type territory. I actually really like Bollinger Bands for these volatile plays like this one. The fact that we're coming down to tag this 200 or this 2 standard deviations below the mean speaks really well for this next price action, that we could see it come back up a little bit. So if you're trading large volumes of Cardano, for example, seeing it hit down here around, it looks like 15.1, 54. So 2 cents. So if you were able to trade 100 of these, you would make $2. So if you did 10,000 of them, then you're making $200. So it really depends on what you see here. And sometimes the spread can really get you for things like this. And sometimes cryptos can be illiquid, although Cardano is one of the bigger ones by market cap. So let me give you one moment here. I'll bring up a window. There we go. I'll have it up for you guys in just a moment. There it is. Oh my goodness. There we go. Trading volume, market cap. Maybe I'll go to the trading view for this. All right, so this is ADA versus USDT Tether coin. So there we are. Yeah, look at the overall trend that we have. We are still on a very solid uptrend when we look at this. It is the daily chart that we're looking at, and if I go to indicators, I believe I can even get the Bollinger Bands here as well. There we go. Close that out. And we actually want to see this narrowing that it has, this decrease in volatility. The overall trend that we have here is definitely a bullish trend. Shorter time frames, it's looking sort of bearish. Our volume, it's natural to see that volume taper off, especially as we have the narrowing here. And even if we put up the RSI, I think we're still in bearish territory. Actually, let's. There you go. Yeah, just barely crossing into bearish territory on the RSI. Our peaks, however, are climbing. Our lows are also climbing. So we could be gathering momentum for this. And remember that after following the narrowing is typically when we have those breakouts, but it can be in either direction. If the trend really is our friend, then that direction that it does break out should be to the upside for this. It would be nice to see it return. What price are we at over here? About $1.88. Let me do that for you guys, make it easier to see. So off those tops that we have there, about $1.85, $1.88. And I think think of it as a stock that trades, not stock, a cryptocurrency that trades below $2 per share. That could definitely be something that's limiting to us in the short term for how this is going to look. I don't follow Cardano close enough to have a price projection, but it is one of my favorites because it is so closely related to the expected performance of Ethereum 2.0 and the innovations that they're also making with Cardano itself. I think we're going to see strong performance from it. But it's still, the whole crypto market is still a battle for dominance. And we have Bitcoin at the top. We have Ethereum that's pushing to take over Bitcoin. We have Cardano that is research-based and, which could cause it to be a little bit slower. So, but it could cause it to be more refined as well. So rather than hurry up and taking the rapid prototyping approach that we would have, more so coming from Vitalik with Ethereum, that we would see more of a methodical, slow approach to what happens with Cardano over time, and that could make a smoother currency for us, maybe with better scalability and security. And decentralization is also something that we have to watch when it comes to the cryptocurrencies, because more decentralization means higher security for us. But then that also takes away from scalability. So it's a weird balance. If you haven't looked up the cryptocurrency trilemma, you should look it up sometime and read about it and watch about it. Maybe I'll make a video on it. It is sort of a neat idea, and it is put into plain language. So that's something that I would watch for. All right, so people are trading. All right, guys, we're pushing on to the 11 o'clock hour. I'm sure the battery in my camera is just about cooked here. Like I said, I'm getting that it's going to be hardwired starting, Saturday. I don't know if I'll live stream until Monday. I got my wedding coming up on June 19th. I guarantee you that Saturday is completely booked for me. And then Father's Day is the next day, which is June the 20th, and that's going to be booked for me as well. Then I'll be on for you guys. I leave for my honeymoon on the 29th of June, and I get back on July the 6th. My goal is, since I'm an early riser, to wake up, walk out to the beach, and see if I can do some streaming from out there. Well, thank you very much, Simon. I appreciate it. So yeah, we'll we'll see what that brings. So I get back July the 6th, and then I'm back for a few days, and then family vacation after that, which I don't have the solid dates on family vacation yet. And then all the interruptions are finally out of the way. But I wanted to let you guys know what to expect on the horizon. Any other days outside of those, Monday through Friday for the stock market open, I intend to be on here. For my Patreon, I'm also working it out so that way I can be on, like, maybe, and this is Eastern Standard Time, that 8:30 to 9 o'clock hour, doing some of the pre-market stuff there. And so that would be for the Patreon members that I would have. And, you know, I have some other future plans that I'll talk about over time. But I really appreciate you guys. It's good entry, BOND. So Beyond Meat. You know, the funny thing about Beyond Meat, I'll put this up for you, Simon, because I know that you do a lot to support this channel, and I really appreciate it. Let's go out to the daily chart. There we go. Woo! Take out the Bollinger Bands to get rid of some of the noise at first. Yeah, so when I saw it under $100, I mean, that was astounding. It's not one that I really look into. However, I'm seeing them when I go into grocery stores. Their products are popping up all over the place, and I think that they're going to be really huge in the alternative meats. You know, when we look for ESG type plays that we have for here. Boy, oh boy, that's a wicked looking chart. This thing peaked up over $200 per share before selling off. That was probably that mid-February. Yeah, it was actually January. I wonder if this was part of like a short squeeze play as well. And then we had the big sell-off all the way to the bottom. So we're right around the middle. It looks like we have a fair area of resistance from 140 up to maybe 145 or so. And that could act as support since we're up above that. There you go. Thank you very much, Tarek. And if I'm not saying your name right, just let me know. I apologize. I wish we got to have some way that I can help out with these names a little bit more. That's actually not a bad looking chart that we have there. Moving average, EMA. There we go. All right, so good news is, Simon, that we're trading above the 200 EMA that we have here. If we return back to it, if you're talking about a good entry, 135 would be a time that I would consider buying back into this according to what we have for the moving averages. And the fact that they're both positively sloped is going to help us. Watching the 50-period simple moving average move up to cross over the 200-period exponential moving average, that would be called a golden cross for us and would be a bullish signal. And you also want to pay attention to the volumes that we have as that happens. Low volume as it continues, maybe trade sideways, maybe trail off a little bit, and then coming back down and touching the 200-period exponential moving average could be a really nice buy setup if you're looking for a time to enter. And the analyst estimates, so it is pretty high according to the 12-month analyst estimates. I would check the timing on those as well and see just how far along we should be. How recent are these? And that would that might tell us a little bit more about how it's going to be trading in the future. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you to everyone who came along and viewed it. I really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow for the market open. My goal is to be on. I actually started setting up around 9 o'clock. For some reason, my microphone, my good mic, isn't working. So you guys are getting my laptop mic right now. It works when I don't have it hooked up to my computer, but my computer's not recognizing it for some reason, and so that's throwing off my sound. But I have a lot of changes coming throughout this summer. Really working to expand the channel and the offerings that I have to my Patreons and to the YouTube community. And I appreciate all the support that you guys show. Thank you for participating in the comments. And if there's anything that you guys want to see tomorrow, I'll be back on 9:15 is my goal time. I might be on a little bit earlier, maybe 9 o'clock. I don't want to be on starting at 9:30 like I did the past 2 days, but the technical limitations are still get me down. So hopefully that changes in the near future. I'm doing a lot to expand the tech offerings that I have on my end that allow me to put out the content in a better way. EVFM. Yeah, Tarek, that would be one that I actually want to look more into to see what's going on with that company, because it has a huge upside potential from where it's at. And I just want to know what exactly merits that sort of point of view on them. Like, what is it depending on? Is it the product that they make that needs some sort of FDA approval? I don't know. I'd have to go back and take a look. That was something that I happened to notice had a lot of action, a lot of activity, but I don't have any research on. And if you find some cool things on it and you want to share, by all means, go ahead and share. I always appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day. Good luck in trading out there. Make sure that you're managing your risks. Remember, these are always for entertainment purposes only, or even educational purposes. That I'll always share with you what I know, and I always appreciate the support. It makes it feel worthwhile to come on here and talk with all of you. Have a great day. Have a great trading day, and we'll see you tomorrow.